In the early era of the United American Provinces, long before the modern states were drawn, there stood a flourishing kingdom called New River Land, ruled by Governor Jonathan Rivers, a man respected for his justice, kindness, and unshakable leadership. Among all blessings he possessed, none was more precious than his 4 daughters. They were known across the provinces for their grace, intelligence, and compassionate hearts. Yet it was the youngest, Princess Shamira Rivers, who captured the admiration of all who saw her. Shamira was unlike her sisters in ways that set her apart. Her nature was gentle, yet wise, her manner soft, yet confident, and her beauty, particularly her long golden hair, was so rare that travelers often thought it woven from pure sunlight. This shimmering hair was the talk of marketplaces, poetry circles, and even courtrooms. But the princess had never been vain. Instead, she carried her charm like a quiet melody. Felt, not flaunted. Despite her beauty and intelligence, she remained unmarried. Many high-born suitors from federal families, wealthy industrialists, and rising political heirs sought her hand. But none possessed the combination of character, humility, and brilliance she desired. Her parents wished deeply for her happiness, yet they never forced her. "Marriage," Governor Rivers would say, "must never imprison your wings. It must strengthen them." One morning, Shamira and her close friends visited the famous Hudson Springs, a natural river loved for its sparkling clear water. They spent hours laughing, collecting flowers, and sharing secrets that only young hearts understand. Eventually, the girls, unable to resist the sparkling surface of the water, stepped in for a refreshing bath. As Shamira leaned near a smooth rock, a few strands of her golden hair drifted into the river, carried away by the gentle current. The girls returned home unaware that destiny had just shifted. Miles away, in the mountainous region of Stone Valley, another kingdom thrived under Governor Samuel Stone. His son, Prince Aidan Stone, was known for his courage, generosity, and exceptional leadership potential. That day, Aidan was out hunting with his companions and stopped by a riverbank for rest. One of his friends spotted something glowing under the water. He picked it up, astonished, to find strands of pure golden hair. Aidan held the hair closer, and in that moment, something awakened in him. It wasn't desire alone, it was destiny calling. From that day, he could think of nothing else. Food lost its taste, sleep lost its comfort, and all joys disappeared. His parents, seeing his decline, grew terrified. And so began the greatest search the provinces had ever witnessed. When Prince Aidan returned to Stone Valley with the golden strands clutched carefully in his hand, his behavior changed overnight. The once lively, confident heir to the governor's seat became silent, withdrawn, and hauntingly pale. He skipped dinner. He refused his favorite tea. His mother, First Lady Helena Stone, watched him pace the balcony for hours, lost in thought. His father attempted to cheer him by planning hunting trips, strategic meetings, and social gatherings, but Aidan could no longer pretend. 2 days passed. 3. A week. And still he would not eat. Finally, Helena could not bear the worry. She approached Governor Samuel Stone late at night and whispered, "Something has overtaken our son. He carries a sorrow that wears the face of love." The governor agreed. Something deeper than simple infatuation had settled into Aidan's heart. Determined to uncover the truth, the governor summoned Harley Hayter, Aidan's closest friend and the son of the chief advisor. Harley was known for his intelligence, courage, and natural ability to read people. If anyone could reach the prince's heart, it was him. Harley entered Aiden's room quietly and found him sitting by the window, staring at the golden strands. "My friend," Harley said gently, "why do you starve your body and silence your soul?" Aiden hesitated. Harley knelt beside him. "You have never hidden anything from me." At last, Aiden spoke. "These are not mere strands of hair," he said. "They belong to a woman whose beauty is beyond imagination. The girl whose hair shines like the sun. I want to find her. I want to marry her. My heart belongs to her, even if I do not know her name." Harley listened, surprised yet moved. "We will find her," he promised, "even if she lives beyond mountains and rivers." When Harley informed Governor Stone of Aiden's wish, the governor, seeing his son's life slipping away, declared a royal public announcement. "Whosoever brings information about the golden hair girl will receive a reward of $1 million. The entire province buzzed with excitement. Police officers, private detectives, forest rangers, and treasure hunters all joined the search. Every city, farmland, riverbed, and hilltop was examined. Yet no trace of the mysterious girl was found. Days turned into weeks, hope turned into fear, and Prince Aiden's health spiraled downward. Governor Stone, heartbroken and desperate, called Harley and said with a trembling voice, "Find her, Harley, or I will lose my son." And so, Harley Hayter embarked on a journey that would test his courage, shape his destiny, and unveil a truth that would change the fate of 2 kingdoms forever. Harley knew the responsibility now laid heavy on his shoulders. The prince's life depended on the discovery of a girl whose only clue was her golden hair. With determination burning in his heart, Harley disguised himself as something no one would suspect: a bracelet seller, a traveling merchant who could blend into markets, neighborhoods, and gatherings without drawing unwanted attention. Carrying colorful bracelets and trinkets in a wooden box, Harley traveled from town to town, walking down busy sidewalks, quiet villages, and crowded parks, calling out, "Bracelets for the young ladies!" Beautiful bracelets. Whenever women or girls gathered around him, he would engage them in friendly conversation and ask the same curious question. "Have you ever seen a girl with golden hair? Hair that shines like the sun?" Most would laugh and shake their heads. Golden hair? That bright? Not here. 20 days passed in this manner. Harley's feet blistered, his voice grew hoarse, and his hope began to weaken. Every passing hour reminded him of Prince Aiden's fading health, and every mile brought a fear Harley could not ignore. What if he failed? Exhausted but determined, Harley reached the wealthy and vibrant region of New Riverland, ruled by Governor Jonathan Rivers. The cities here bustled with life: street performers, farmers' markets, and peaceful community parks. Harley repeated his routine, showing bracelets, asking questions, searching faces. Yet again, nobody knew anything. By the end of the 20th day, Harley's steps had grown heavy. Sitting under the shade of a tall oak tree, he whispered to himself, "If I do not find her, the prince will die, and my father will be blamed." But destiny works on its own timing. On the 28th day of his journey, when he felt his hope slipping completely, a young girl named Nadzia Nelson, the treasurer's daughter, invited him to her home to show her bracelets. After he finished the sale, he casually asked the same question. "In my province, a girl has golden hair. Do you know anyone like that in this city?" Nadzia paused. Her eyes widened. "Yes," she whispered. "Our young princess, Princess Shamira. Her hair is golden, not blonde. Golden Harley froze. His heart thudded. Had destiny finally spoken? But to confirm, he challenged her words. Princess. Golden hair? That sounds like a fairy tale. Nadia, offended, declared, "If you do not believe me, I will prove it." Thus began a dangerous, fateful bet that would alter the path of two families. Determined to prove herself right, Nadia stormed back into the royal residence later that afternoon. Princess Shamira, unaware of the purpose behind her visit, welcomed her warmly. They spent time chatting, playing with accessories, and sharing light-hearted laughter, until Nadia carefully and quietly plucked a single golden strand from Shamira's hair, hiding it in her dress. Later that evening, when Harley walked past her house selling bracelets, Nadia stepped outside briskly and called him in. With a confident smile, she placed the golden strand in his hands. Harley stared at it with disbelief. It gleamed even brighter than the strands Aiden found. He knew, without a doubt, this was the girl. "You were telling the truth," Harley admitted gratefully. "These bracelets," he said, pushing his full box toward her, "are yours. You won the bet." While Nadia celebrated her free treasures, Harley wasted no time. He bought a fast horse from a nearby inn and began his journey back to Stone Valley. There were only 2 days left before the governor's deadline. If he failed, not only would Prince Aiden perish, but Governor Stone had also vowed to execute Chief Advisor Hyder, Harley's own father, for failing to fulfill the king's command. The stakes were no longer just royal. They were personal. Harley galloped through fields, across rivers, through forests. He rode in the pouring rain, under blistering sun, and through freezing wind. He did not sleep. He did not pause. His heart beat with only one prayer: God, let me reach before it's too late. Meanwhile, in Stone Valley, tragedy brewed. The month ended. Prince Aiden's health weakened to the point where he could barely speak. The governor, filled with grief and fury, summoned the chief advisor and declared, "You failed your duty. Prepare for execution." The advisor begged for mercy. The citizens cried out for compassion. The queen pleaded for patience, but Governor Stone was drowning in panic and blind anger. A large crowd gathered in the Central Valley field as the executioner lifted his sword. The chief advisor was tied, trembling, tears streaming down his face. Just as the blade rose, "Stop!" a powerful voice thundered from the distance. Harley burst through the gathered crowd, dust and sweat covering his body. He leapt from his horse and sprinted forward. "I have found her!" he cried. "The golden hair girl is Princess Shamira of New Riverland!" The crowd erupted into shouts of relief and joy. The execution was halted. Aiden's father collapsed into a chair, overcome with emotion. Aiden was immediately informed, and at that moment, his sickness began to lift. Hope had returned. Destiny had awakened, and a new chapter began. As news spread, Stone Valley burst into celebration. Prince Aiden regained his strength with astonishing speed. Within 2 days, he stood tall, dressed in royal attire, ready to meet the girl whose mere hair had restored his life. Governor Stone gathered gifts: diamonds, emeralds, gold, rare pearls, and luxurious fabrics, and loaded them onto beautifully decorated carriages. A delegation of nobles, scholars, and guards accompanied the prince and Harley as they set out toward New Riverland. After 12 days of travel, the grand procession reached the borders of Princess Shamira's kingdom. Governor Jonathan Rivers welcomed them with the honor reserved for foreign royalty. The guests were lodged in the royal guest palace, surrounded by music, flowers, and delicious feasts. The next morning, the proposal letter was presented to Governor Rivers. Prince Aidan Stone formally requests the hand of Princess Shamira. Governor Rivers consulted the First Lady, who thoughtfully replied, "I see no fault in this marriage." But the princess's heart and mind must agree. 3 days later, Shamira's friends gathered around her in her private garden, sharing the story of the prince who had nearly died because of a single strand of her hair. They told her of his love, his suffering, and Harley's long journey. Shamira listened silently. She smiled softly and finally said, "I accept this proposal," but her friends leaned in. "But if the prince wishes to marry me, he must first prove that he possesses not only a brave heart, but a wise mind. I will ask him 3 questions. If he answers them correctly, I will gladly marry him. If not, it means God has destined something else." Her conditions were sent back to Stone Valley's delegation. Marriage will proceed only if Prince Aidan answers 3 wisdom tests. Governor Stone grew worried. What if he fails? We have come so far. But Harley placed a hand on Aidan's shoulder and said, "Fear nothing. If the princess gives time to think about each answer, leave the rest to me." And so, the great hall of New Riverland was prepared. Thrones polished, chandeliers lit, flags hung, nobles seated. Princess Shamira entered veiled in a shimmering silk cloak. Prince Aidan was seated on a golden throne in the center. The moment had come. Her friend stepped forward and announced, "Intelligent Prince Aidan, Princess Shamira asks, what does intelligence eat?" The hall fell into silence. Every heart trembled, and the test began. When Princess Shamira's friend spoke the question aloud, "What does intelligence eat?" every person in the hall froze. Nobles shifted uncomfortably, advisors raised their brows, and the governor of New Riverland exchanged a worried glance with his wife. Prince Aidan felt his heart race. He had expected challenges, but this question carried layers of meaning. What does intelligence consume? What sustains it? Aidan's mind swarmed with theories, but none seemed certain. So he calmly stood and said, "Noble princess, grant me 1 day's time to reflect deeply." Shamira's friend returned inside, consulted her, and shortly announced, "Princess Shamira approves." "You have until this time tomorrow," the court dissolved. Back in their quarters, Aidan asked Harley anxiously, "Do you understand this question?" "I am thinking," Harley replied, pacing the room. "What feeds intelligence? Experience? Knowledge? Pain? Suffering? Perhaps grief?" They debated until late night, but nothing felt absolutely right. At dawn, Harley sat outside, staring at the sky as the sun rose over New Riverland. Suddenly, a realization washed over him, a truth so powerful and universal that he rushed inside breathlessly. "Aidan!" "I know the answer. Intelligence eats sorrow." Aidan, relieved, repeated the phrase aloud, letting its depth sink in. Indeed, experience shaped by hardship sharpens the mind. The wise grow wiser through trials. When they entered the court the next day, the entire assembly sat in anticipation. Princess Shamira remained behind her gauze curtain, observing silently. Her friend approached once more. "Prince Aidan, Princess Shamira asks, what does intelligence eat?" Aidan stood confidently. "As your wise princess asked," he began, "the answer is simple." The hall leaned forward. Intelligence eats sorrow. For a moment, silence. Then came the thunderous applause. The New River nobles cheered. Stone Valley delegates rose from their seats. Even Governor Rivers whispered, "Remarkable." Shamira, behind her veil, smiled softly. Her heart warmed, not because he answered correctly, but because he showed patience, humility, and reliance on wise counsel. After the applause faded, her friend stepped forward again. Princess Shamira's second question is this: what does wisdom drink? Another difficult question, another shock through the hall. But Aiden remained composed. I request one more day. And thus, the second trial began. The second question, what does wisdom drink? Spread anxiety like wildfire through both kingdoms. Even Governor Stone, usually composed, trembled with fear at the possibility of humiliation. But Harley Hayter, ever the steady force, continued searching for meaning. He spoke to scholars. He interviewed elders. He sat by the riverside, meditating on every trial a wise person endures. Aiden, meanwhile, struggled to remain calm. If I fail, he whispered to Harley, we lose everything. Harley placed a reassuring hand on his shoulder. Trust me. Wisdom does not come effortlessly. It comes through pain, humility, and burdens most people fear. Suddenly, as Harley watched raindrops slide down the window pane that evening, he understood. Wisdom does not drink joy. Wisdom does not drink pleasure. Wisdom drinks the heaviest of life's offerings. Wisdom drinks curse. The idea hit him like lightning. Every wise person in history had faced hardship. People judged them, criticized them, mocked them. Yet through every curse, wisdom grew stronger. Harley shared the revelation with Aiden, who sighed with relief. The next day, the hall was filled again. Princess Shamira's friend stepped forward. Prince Aiden, Princess Shamira asks, what does wisdom drink? Aiden confidently responded, wisdom drinks curse. Again, silence fell. Then applause exploded across the room. The princess, though hidden, felt her heart stir. The prince had wisdom, but also depth and humility. Her respect for him grew stronger. Yet one final trial remained, the most dangerous of all. A wooden cage was brought into the hall, covered with a thick black cloth. A fierce whisper spread through the room. A lion, a real lion, trapped inside. Shamira's friend stepped forward. The final condition: free the dead lion from the cage without opening the cage or breaking it. This question shook everyone. Aiden's face drained of color. Even Harley's confidence wavered. The princess had set a trap no ordinary man could solve. But Harley Hayter was not ordinary, and destiny was on their side. When the audience heard the final challenge, fear spread like wildfire. A lion, dead or alive, freeing it without opening the cage was impossible. Advisors whispered, guards exchanged anxious looks, and even Governor Rivers raised a brow in curiosity. Aiden once again requested a day's time, and the princess granted it. But this time, Harley felt truly overwhelmed. A lion, he muttered. How does one free something trapped inside, without opening anything? Without breaking anything? He wandered the streets thinking of solutions, asking riddles to strangers, and replaying every problem-solving memory from his childhood. Nothing made sense. Finally, in desperation, he disguised himself again as a bracelet seller and walked toward the treasurer's home, the home of Nazia Nelson, the same girl who had helped him earlier. When Nazia saw him, she smirked. Back in disguise? Trying to fool me again? Harley removed his cap and bowed. Forgive me. I come not to fool you, but because my life, my future, depends on your kindness. Nazia raised an eyebrow. Explain! Harley confessed everything. The prince's love, the conditions, the deadly third challenge, his father's life hanging in the balance, his own promise to marry her. Nazia listened. At first she was offended, but Harley's sincerity softened her. She sighed deeply. "All right," she said. "I will tell you the truth. But you must keep your promise." "I swear it," Harley replied. Nazia leaned closer and whispered, "The lion is not real. It is made of wax, a masterpiece created by the royal craftsman. Heat an iron rod and insert it through the cage. The wax will melt. The lion will come out without opening anything." Harley gasped. This was genius. He raced back to Aiden and revealed the secret. The prince's eyes lit with hope for the first time in days. "Harley, you have saved me again." When the court assembled the next day, the lion's cage was unveiled. The audience gasped. The wax lion looked terrifyingly real. Aiden examined it silently, then called for a large iron rod and a powerful flame torch. The court murmured in confusion. When the rod glowed red-hot, Aiden inserted it into the lion's stomach. Within minutes, the wax began to melt. Golden streams poured out of the cage. The lion escaped without the cage being opened. The hall erupted in thunderous applause as the princess herself stepped forward for the first time. "You have passed all conditions. I accept you." The court roared with celebration. Destiny had been fulfilled. The victory spread across New Riverland like wildfire. Town criers announced the triumph. Children danced in the streets, and nobles showered the visiting delegation with gifts. A magical atmosphere filled the air, warm lights, cheerful music, and the scent of fresh roses. Governor Rivers declared that preparations for the royal wedding would begin immediately. Princess Shamira emerged from her chambers that evening in a shimmering silver gown. It was the first time Prince Aiden saw her unveiled. Her golden hair fell gracefully across her shoulders, sparkling under the chandelier lights. Aiden was mesmerized, and Shamira, noticing his awe, felt her cheeks warm with shyness. The royal wedding took place in the Grand Hall of New Riverland, decorated with white lilies, golden ribbons, and banners carrying the emblem of both kingdoms. Leaders from neighboring provinces, diplomats, and thousands of citizens gathered to witness the historic union. The ceremony was majestic. Vows exchanged before the great assembly, music played by the kingdom's best orchestra, and prayers for prosperity whispered by elders. But Aiden did not forget his promise. On the fourth day after the celebrations, he approached Governor Rivers respectfully. "My lord," he said, "I ask that you bless the marriage of Harley Hayter and Nazia Nelson. Had it not been for Nazia's honesty, none of this would have been possible." The governor happily agreed. Thus, the second wedding was arranged, and to everyone's surprise, it was even grander than the first. Guests laughed, danced, and celebrated the love and loyalty that had brought two hearts together. Harley and Nazia were wed under a canopy of golden lights. Tears filled Harley's father's eyes as he witnessed the honor his son had earned. The Stone Valley delegation honored Nazia with precious gifts, including a necklace made of rare sapphire stones. 2 weddings, 2 friendships, 2 destinies, all intertwined in a tapestry of fate. After a week of celebrations, both newly married couples, Aiden and Shamira, Harley and Nazia, returned to Stone Valley with great honor. The people welcomed them with cheers, drums, and flower petals. Governor Stone, seeing the happiness in his son's eyes, felt a peace he had not known for months. And soon after, the final chapter of the legend began. Months passed, bringing prosperity to Stone Valley like never before. Prince Aiden's leadership flourished, guided by Princess Shamira's wisdom and Harley Hayter's intelligence. Under their influence, new schools were built, healthcare expanded, and poverty reduced. The people began referring to their state as the Golden Province, not just because of the princess's hair, but because of the golden era of kindness and justice the couple inspired. Governor Stone, growing old, recognized the time had come to pass his responsibilities. In a grand ceremony, he placed the emblem of leadership on Aiden's shoulders. The hall echoed with applause. A new governor had risen. Aiden's first act as leader was to appoint Harley Hayter as the chief advisor, a role he had earned through loyalty, courage, and brilliance. Harley's father received a lifelong pension and honor for his service. Princess Shamira, now First Lady of Stone Valley, became a symbol of compassion. She opened centers for young girls, launched education programs, and traveled across provinces spreading hope and wisdom. People admired her not only for her beauty, but for her heart, a heart that humbled the proud, lifted the fallen, and inspired the discouraged. As the years passed, the tale of the golden-haired princess and the prince who loved her unseen became a legend told in every household, school, and gathering. Parents told it to remind children that what is destined for you will always reach you. Teachers told it to teach students that intelligence grows through sorrow and wisdom through trials. Leaders told it to remind themselves that power belongs to the just, not the unjust. And travelers recited it at resting inns to inspire anyone who had lost their courage. At the end of the story, one line always echoed, a line whispered from generation to generation. The strongest kingdoms are not built by swords, but by loyalty, love, and the courage to never give up. And thus ended the legendary American tale of Princess Shamira, Prince Aiden, Harley Hayter, and Nadia Nelson. A story of destiny, wisdom, friendship, and triumph, where sorrow fed intelligence, curses nurtured wisdom, and trials built greatness. A tale that forever reminds us, greatness begins where fear ends.